will be at Giant Camp. Amazingly, huh? At Giant Camp already. That's unbelievable when you think about it. Friday with the whole show for, regular time. So we'll spend the day with the Giants. The Jets will do on the backside of August. We'll do them like August 21. We're doing the Giants early on the early side of camp. So we'll get to everybody there. Now we'll get all the regulars. I can't promise Beckham. Beckham and I don't speak. So, we've had our issues. So I doubt you'll hear from Beckham, but you hear from everybody else. You hear from the owner, you hear from Eli, you hear from the coaches. I'm trying to get the coordinators. I don't think the Giants, I don't know what Sherman's rule is yet on coordinators. If he's not, some coaches do not let the coordinators speak. Some guys do. I don't know what the Giant rule is yet on coordinators. If they let them speak, I will have them both on. We'll try to get Gettleman if he's there. He's been ill, so we're trying to get Gettleman and everybody else. So the owners, everybody, we'll get everybody there. So that'll be Friday. Yankee lineup tonight: Gardy, Judge, Stanton, Didi, Andujar. Bird is the DH. Drury, Walker. Walker's at first. Drury's at second. Romine with Tanaka. So Gardy, Judge, Stanton, Didi, Andujar, Bird DH. Drury at second, Walker at first, Romine catching. No Sanchez. Sanchez will be put on the DL. I don't know if he's officially been put on it yet, but the word is he has been officially. Okay, they're calling it a strained right groin. Okay, strained. Got it. Yeah. Rosario is the Mets. Rosario, Cabrera, Flores, Batista, Conforto, Mesoraco, Nimmo, Evans, Wheeler. The Mets have brought Evans up. He's at third. They're bringing McNeil up. He's coming up. He's not in the lineup yet tonight. I don't even know if he's here yet. Chris, is he here yet tonight? They're bringing McNeil up. I don't know if he's on the roster yet. Is he on the roster yet, or is he here for tonight or not? They're definitely bringing him up. I don't know if he's here yet or not for the night's game, but they are bringing him up. They brought Evans up. They still had a move to make. Rosario, Cabrera, Flores, Batista, Conforto, Mesoraco, Nimmo, Evans, and Wheeler. Let me say this about the Mets. I was on with Evan yesterday because I had oral surgery yesterday. I had broken a tooth underneath my cap, and actually it was kind of strange that you have a post underneath your cap if you've ever had a cap, and I broke it where it actually shattered the root of the tooth, and it came through the gum. So they had to do a lot of surgery on the gum, and then they had done that a couple of weeks ago, and then I went back to get a post put in. I put an implant in. I had never had an implant before. So I got surgery on that yesterday, and they had to cut the gum again. So I had surgery. It's in the front, too, so it kind of affects, your speaking. So that's why I did not come on yesterday. But I went on with Evan to talk about some of the things that I had learned because I had spoken to a bunch of people. And it wasn't, I don't want to even think it was Omar because I know that I was sitting with Omar publicly in Legends for about an hour and a half with his son, who plays basketball at South Carolina. His son starts at basketball at South Carolina, Omar's son. He started as a freshman on the basketball team at South Carolina. So he's a good player. He's actually going to Italy with Larry Brown. Team Larry Brown's taking to Italy. He's on the team going to Italy. He's a very good player. I mean, he's a possible pro. He's that kind of player. But Omar and I was sitting together for a long time during the rain delay. But this came from elsewhere, and I said a lot of things yesterday, including that they knew about Cespedes. I know they've cleared a lot of that up since then. As why Callaway said what he did, I have no idea. I mean, but he knew what the truth was with Cespedes, who's back on the DL, as you know. So that's what that's what turned out to be the situation there. And nothing has changed with deGrom. If they were overwhelmed, they would listen, but they don't expect to be. They're not expecting to trade him. They would, if they were overwhelmed, they would obviously listen. I mean, if they were just blown away, it would take in their words, they'd have to be blown away to trade him. So it's not likely that will be the case. And the frustrating thing for deGrom is, in a couple of these games, as well as he's pitched, he has made the wrong pitch at the wrong time. I mean, the Miami game, about 4 back. He had a 2-0 lead in the 6th inning and gave up a home run on a changeup. I mean, and I know he's got to be perfect, and I know it's not fair for him to be perfect, but he has let up a couple of, at the wrong moment, and even meant that himself. I didn't get the out when I was supposed to. he made a bad pitch to Meyer. He made a bad pitch to, in the Miami game, he got beat on a changeup for a home run. So he almost has to be perfect in these games, and he usually is very close. He pitched 8 innings in that game, pitched more than well enough to win. It's sad. It really is to see him. And they gave the stat last night, because I was watching both games. He gave the stat last night that for someone to have the ERA that he has and have 5 wins, it's never been done before in the history of baseball. That to have an ERA this low and have only 5 wins at this point of the season is the lowest number of wins with this kind of ERA was 7. He has 5. So he's actually broken the record, a record you don't want to break, but he has broken the record with this performance. And last night, of course, 8 innings, gave up 5 hits. He gave up 2 earned runs, lost 3-2, struck out 10, and his ERA is 1.71. It actually went up a little last night because of the fact that he gave up 2 earned runs over 8 innings. But he deserved better. Doesn't he always deserve better? I actually sensed some frustration in him after the game. I actually did watching him speak. I thought I did sense some frustration, but wouldn't you? I think you would. After seeing, what he's gone through this year, which has been just outrageous. It really has. And maybe you guys noticed, you heard the show Sunday. If you didn't, I know a lot of people last week were talking about Harvey and him being attractive to a contender. Maybe you saw the game Harvey had on Sunday. 3 innings, 8 runs, 8 hits, 4 homers against the Pirates. So, welcome back to earth for Mr. Matt Harvey. Phil and Shirley, what's up, Phil?
What's going on, Mike? A couple things about the Yankees I wanted to get into before Gary. The first thing is, obviously, they're definitely going to make a trade for a pitcher. With no one on the market that's really that big, I think they are definitely going to have to get 2, Mike. I wanted to know your opinion.
I don't know that they can get 2. I said that a while ago that they might get 2. I could see them getting 2. I don't know that they'll be able to. I would not be shocked if they did get 2. Pitchers. I think it is reasonable. They could get 1 before the 31st, then get another one in mid-August if they need him. Yep. Yeah, they could definitely get another one who can get through. So a lot of those guys do get through waivers. So that could definitely happen. So it wouldn't surprise me if that happened. But they definitely, this is a little bit of a crisis time. They haven't played great of late. The Red Sox have played off the charts. They find themselves now, a ways back. They have some ground to make up. And the Red Sox, as I said to that one caller who keeps calling this with the same theme, the Red Sox fan, that basically the Red Sox will cool off. It's just human nature. It'll happen. They'll have a bad run. They'll lose 4 in a row. They'll lose 7 of 10. It will happen. But the Yankees have to be ready to pounce, and they're going to and the Yankees have put themselves in a position now where they're going to have to play very well in the 10 games they have left with the Red Sox. They've beat them 5-4, but they're going to have to play better than that because they've dug themselves a hole. They have. Okay,
now on to Sanchez. Obviously, that's the topic of conversation today. And watching that game last night, when I seen the pass ball, I knew it would already be a topic of conversation. And then when he gets up to end the game, I'm like, all right, he's definitely getting a hit here. It'll just end the silence on it'll end everything, all the talk about him being lackadaisical. And then that happens, Mike. And that was insane. I can't believe it because I already knew that it was going to be a topic of conversation. Now it's on another level. And I think that it's going to start getting to the point where maybe it could, I never thought Sanchez was going to be traded. I never, ever thought that. But now, since all of this is happening and all this conversation, if this continues to happen, do you see him on the team next year going into the season? Do you see them maybe parting ways eventually? You don't think they ever will?
Let me say this. If you're going to trade a Sanchez, you're going to trade him at his highest point. You're not going to trade him at a point that
totally agree. And
he's
right
50 cents on the dollar right now.
Right now, where he's at is beyond.
Yeah, you can't trade him now because you're really trading a player who is in a shadow of the player you've seen the first 2 years. So you have to find out what's going on. Listen, I thought today somebody would speculate there's something going on with this guy because he's 25 years old. I don't know that there is or there isn't, but sometimes guys can just get out of sorts. When we say something's going on, people think, all of a sudden we mean he's got a substance abuse problem or something like that. No, we don't mean that. What we mean is he could, be having some issues personally with a girlfriend. He could be just he could be in a funk about something else. He could be
Before you let me go, Mike,
whatever it is.
thing.
I mean, they're human beings. Sometimes things go wrong for these guys,
One more thing with Sanchez. This is the thing that caught my eye because I've noticed him and Severino having a couple issues in the past. Obviously, remember that fly ball that Severino jumped over and took from him, and then going into that game, you've seen the frustration in Severino talking to him when he walked away, almost like, obviously I made a mistake coming from Severino, but now you're not going to run. That's the issue that we're talking about. And then to come up in the last at bat and do that, I think now that this actually is going to be an issue, and it's going to be all the teammates are going to come up to him and be like, hey, this has to stop, because it's one thing not to go after a ground ball and the guy scores, or a pass ball and the guy scores. But at the end of the game, bottom 9 or top 9, 2 outs, and you have a chance to tie that game where it looked like the Yankees were going to lose that game all game long. And then to come back and battle and blow it like that, I mean, that was a devastating loss, Mike. That was really bad, and it's all on him.
Well, listen, the bottom line is no one – listen, this is a team that's fighting to be – is trying to be a championship team. This is a team that's trying to have a special year. No one's going to tolerate having a player who doesn't hustle. And I'm sure, it doesn't take much for his, it doesn't take much for his teammates to get involved. I mean, whether it's Gaudy, whether it's CC, whether it's even a Judge, it doesn't take much for that to happen. It really doesn't. I mean, it can happen. It can happen very easily. So if that's the case, so be it. But I don't know what's going on. I really don't with him. But what you're seeing is that he's not getting the job done. And clearly, he's batting 188. His defense has not gotten better. And he just basically looks like he's lost his way. And when that happens, you want to figure out what's the best way to get someone back on their game. And right now they've decided, rather than publicly go after him, rather than publicly get on him, we're going to basically say, hey, he's injured, we're going to work through it. So they took that road. They took the easy way out for him. Mark in Belmore, what's up, Mark?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
What's
Thanks
happening?
for taking the call. I have a Sanchez point. I don't know if you can take a Met question yet or not, but with Sanchez, a lot of the fans or callers, I get it that they want him to be punished, not necessarily put away and fixed. I think the Yankees are doing the right move here. Put him away, get his head straight, try to square him away, and then bring him back. And I understand you.
Well, the Yankees chose to protect him. Is what they did here. They chose to protect him.
And that's not the worst move in the world. I get people want him punished, but I don't think that's going to be productive if you're moving forward for him. But I don't know if you have a time for a Met question here. But
hey, go ahead.
When the Mets trade Familia, they get basically nothing back. What I want to know is who ultimately.
Let me say one thing about that.
Okay.
Let me say one thing about that. You don't know that at this point. You can criticize it, but you don't know that. Now, it's very clear that was a J.P. Ricciardi trade. That was his trade. He knew the player. He knew the player's father. Okay? That was his trade. Now, whether he's right or wrong, to say for sure if that's the case yet, you could criticize it if you want, but you don't know, nor do I, what's going to happen with those players. None of us do.
Just hear me off 1 second, though. But you're taking back a player who's they're minor league players. They're not necessarily prospects. One's 25 years old and one has an injury history. But really my question is this. Whether the trade works out or not, or any trade moving forward work out or not, who ultimately is responsible making the trade? Is it Wilpon giving the – I don't even know who –
Well, that trade – the one thing they did weirdly there was they made that clear that was JP's trade. And that was a weird way of doing it. And that's what's dysfunctional, is that they basically – declared not that it was a GM trade, but that it was his trade.
Right.
So this was that wasn't Omar's trade. That wasn't Rico's trade. That was JP's trade.
But I don't think you can have an organization where some guys are making some trades and some guys are making other trades.
That's why this can't work this way, and that's why you don't trade deGrom.
There's no way it'll work.
Right. That's what they're going to trade some guys here, like Cabrera. They're going to trade some guys here. But to do what they did and designate it the way it was done was completely wrong. completely wrong. And let's be honest, they've done a lot of things completely wrong in the last week.
Right. And that's why I don't want to trade deGrom with Syndergaard, because I don't think.
First of all, they're not. Syndergaard is.
They shouldn't.
Yeah, Syndergaard's back on the DL. They're not trading him. Now,
I said it before. You can't trade a guy until you have a front
I agree.
office.
And listen, they're going out, and none of these guys are going to be the general manager. None of these guys are going to be. They're going to go out and get a general manager. And I don't know who he's going to be, but they're going to go out and get one. So he's going to be from somewhere else, and that guy should get to make the trade if he wants to.
Right.
I agree.
Keep your big chips.
I agree with that.
They can make these meaningless trades if they want.
They have to make these small ones, Mark. There's one way around it. But I agree with you. They can't make the big ones. I totally agree. Caruso and Wall. What's up, Caruso?
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
What's happening?
As far as the Sanchez situation goes, I know I'm not going to say that the guy has hustled all the time, because we know he hasn't. He's had times where he looked lackadaisical and everything. But to me, it was obvious right after the break when he came back that he was hurt. The guy.
Well, wait a second. Why? First of all, last night, if you watch him run, when he started to run late, he was running fine. I don't know. Well, he was running fine. I mean, go watch the tape. Then why didn't he say he was hurt last night?
Because I don't think a guy wants to admit that he's hurt.
Why not? If he was hurt, he's hurt. You didn't have a problem not hustling. Why didn't he admit he was hurt?
Well, to me, there's a difference. I could see, a guy who doesn't hustle. We've seen it a million times.
And we've seen him not hustle before.
You're right, but there's a difference. He's like walking, and the games against the Mets, he hit the ball into play, and he's walking.
But you watch him last night, though. He busts it when he realizes what happens. He busts it late, and then says, "I should have run harder."
But I think he's banged up, Mike.
Listen,
I mean,
I
you go back and watch those games against the Mets.
I don't want to give him. Then you know what? I don't want to give him excuses. And the Yankees didn't say anything that he was hurt before. I didn't hear one word that he was hurt.
Well, he was on the DL.
Oh yeah, but he came back. But he came back. Yeah, he's back on the DL.
Well,
this time. Listen. Now the Yankees were backed into a corner. They were going to have to either reprimand him severely or put him back on the DL. It was one or the other.
Wow, I don't know about that.
What do you mean you don't know about that?
Who's to say?
Because the manager would have got slaughtered. He would have got slaughtered. The manager would have got to. Wait a second. If he had come out today and ignored that, he would have gotten destroyed. Boone, he would have gotten destroyed.
He has the option of talking to him in private and not throwing him under the bus, but he doesn't have to throw him under the bus in public.
He did after I totally disagree. After last night's performance, he had to do something.
Why?
Because that was that egregious last night. He didn't even hustle at all.
Right, but I mean, look at the.
He had his own players challenge him in the dugout last night.
Yeah, no, listen, I don't love it.
You saw Severino get in his face last night.
Yeah, well, I think he's hurt.
Wait a second. If he's hurt, so Severino didn't know he was hurt. Severino got in his face last night because he didn't know he was hurt. His own pitcher didn't know he was hurt.
I think he's frustrated.
I'm not buying Caruso that he's so hurt that his own pitcher ripped him up in the dugout in front of everybody. That's how hurt he was. I mean, come on. If the pitcher knew he was hurt, he wouldn't take him down like that in front of everybody last night. And Aaron Boone, after the game, did not say, my player's hurt. He said, I got to go see the tape. That's what he said. He didn't say his player was hurt. So nobody used hurt as an excuse last night. And Severino went after him in front of everybody after that incident with the pass ball. Went after him right in front of everybody in the dugout. Jeff on the Jersey Shore. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
What's happening?
Hey, listen, I know from being a manager of people for a bunch of years and being a parent that sometimes you got to handle different kids and different people a different way.
I agree with that.
And listen, he's been with the organization a long time, and I am not making no excuse. I think he hot dogged it last night. But the thing is this. I think this can go down as one of Boone's defining moments. See, maybe I think this was probably a decision at the time when he said he had to go look at the tape. I think they probably all bet heads today. Maybe they said to him, you're going on the DL for 10 days. Maybe that's how they handled it with him.
Well, listen, they let him off the hook in that they don't have to publicly chastise him now.
Right. But like I say, though, Mike, maybe they see more to it than we know.
Well, we don't. Listen, does that open speculation, him going right back on the DL, does it open speculation that he's got some other issues? Of course it opens speculation. But we don't know that that's the case. But does it open speculation? Yes. When a guy's hitting 188 who tore up baseball the last 2 years, and the guy is not hustling, and now he's going right back on the DL, there's issues here. Something's up. You got one guy, he's jealous of Judge. He's jealous of Stanton. He was the guy 2 years ago. Now he's not the guy anymore. I don't know that that's the case, but can I say that it's not? No. He's got something else going on. Again, I don't know that that's the case, but can I say it's not? No. So has he cloaked all this in some mystery now? Yeah, he has. But what the Yankees did is the Yankees were confronted with either Boone was going to come out today and really go after his player, or he was going to have to get up and say he was hurt. And now he doesn't have to do anything because the Yankees spoke for him and said he's hurt. Back after this.